My name is Howard Stross, and I'm with Stross Law Firm located in Oldsmar, Florida. For several decades, we have been helping people in the areas of real estate and also in estate planning and most importantly, settling their estates. We want you to be an informed consumer, one who will understand what we got to do and also understand what you can do to abbreviate the time it takes and also to reduce dramatically the cost associated with doing so. If there's any question that maybe comes up as a standard question always, whether it's just social chatter or I'm talking with someone in a formal meeting when they just lost one, they've heard from friends and family members or just reading newspaper articles how long it can take to settle an estate. So the question is, why in the heck does it have to be so long? And here's at least a partial response to that. It depends on what you're working with. As an example, I had a professional who passed away at 62 years old. During the course of the administration, and he had a trust and it was just about fully funded. However, we had 3 lawsuits and that going on. One was with his former landlord, the other was a malpractice claim, and there was a third one over an asset that he owned in Georgia. There were 3 states involved, the state of Maine, the state of Georgia, and Florida. All those states have different laws. They also have different filings. And the reason those 3 states were involved is because real estate was involved in each one of those states. And when you have real estate in someone's estate that has to be dealt with, you have to go by the laws of the state where that real estate is located. So just by definition, when you add all that up, and he was fairly organized, but when you start having lawsuits as an example, or you have disputes between family members about what tangible personal property they're going to get because it wasn't clear in the person's will or trust as to how they were going to distribute that. That's another example. You have people you're working with in the estate and you ask them on August 1st for something, and maybe you get the information by mid-September. If that's the case, it just holds up everything. So a lot of it has to do with the people you're working with, the beneficiaries in the estate, and the laws that you have to deal with if there's multiple states. That's a very good reason to have a trust. If you have real estate in other states, you can avoid the probate in those states. So if you've got 3 states, as an example that I gave you before, Georgia, Maine, and Florida, if you didn't have a trust that was properly funded with those pieces of real estate, you would have a probate in every one of those estates. So not only would you have 1 probate in Florida, you would have 1 in Maine and you'd have 1 in Georgia. And of course, all those take time and they take money, and you have to hire lawyers in those states to make sure that the probate is completed properly. So the long and short of answering that question is you have to examine each estate, because not one size fits all. And it's not always a function of how many assets or how much money or value is in the estate. Small estates can have problems too. A lot of it has to do with a lack of planning, not adequate organization. You can't find records, or you can, but it's tough to do. They're not clear. You have to get copies from the bank. All that stuff takes longer to do. And one last thing, the judiciary in most states, including Florida, are underfunded. When it's underfunded, that means there's not as many people in the probate clerk's office. There's not as many judges. There's not as many people that work for judges. These people are really good people. They work very hard to get these things done. But there's only so many hours in the day, and these legislatures in many states just are not properly funding the judiciary. And as a result of that, that's part of it. That's certainly not all of it. My name is Howard Stross, and I'm with Stross Law Firm located in Oldsmar, Florida. And if we can help you, if you have any question, all you have to do is telephone 813 852-6500. And we'll set up a phone discussion with you, or possibly in person, depending on the circumstances at the time. But again, that initial discussion is not going to be at any cost to you. If you decide you do not want to proceed with us, that's that. There's no out-of-pocket cost to you. It has been an investment of your time, but you'll understand a lot after that first meeting. And thank you very much for listening.